Before we get started, if you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let us explain.
Anchor has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast straight from your phone or computer.
When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.
It is everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
And best of all, Anchor is totally free.
Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Link, and the reason why I'm talking pretty fast is because I gotta go pee-pee, but I am legally contracted to share or tell you guys to subscribe to our social media stuff. Follow us on Instagram, S4M Podcast. Follow us on Twitter and the same thing, and Facebook. That's also the same thing, S4M Podcast. And if you can continue giving us money, contributing, so that we can have a toilet in the studio so I can pee without having to hold it so long, that would be perfect. So I gotta go because it's coming out.
Welcome back to Searching for MacGuffin with your host,
George.
Dan.
Gabe.
And Lake-chan!
Now, today's episode is called Attack on Anime.
Shouldn't it be called Attack of Anime?
No, because we're going to attack
Why is that?
anime.
What?
Why would it be called Attack
I
on
don't know,
Anime?
because are we attacking anime?
Yes.
No,
is
we're
it
on top of anime and
on
we're
it?
attacking it.
High ground.
Okay.
High ground, baby.
Okay. I feel
a
like
high
it's
ground on
anime
anime.
who's attacking and not us attacking anime. We'll see. Maybe we will be.
You should tell that to the producers of that other show that has a similar title.
I do. I email them all the time, but they haven't changed
Every week.
it.
So today we're going to be talking about kind of our experience, our history with anime. It's obviously being such a popular topic nowadays. It's very prevalent in our culture. But I just want to start off. What was your first anime? And we'll start with Link.
Really quick, if you want to hear us talk more about anime, check out our Anime 101 episode, one of the first 5 episodes. So, there.
Dang, he's good.
Oh no, now I don't have anything to talk about because I
Shameless
only have
plug.
those 5 things to say.
Oh, my bad. I was trying to do that thing where we
Nah, you did a good job.
point for Ravenclaw.
You're Ravenclaw?
Of course.
They do nothing.
I don't know what that means.
I am Hufflepuff.
They also do nothing.
We contribute.
We're there.
What was the question, Gabe? I'm sorry.
Your first anime.
My first anime was Pokemans. I loved it. Ever since I was 4.
Isn't that a streamer?
That's Pokemon.
That was the first he subscribed to Pokemon and then he just played.
Is there any
episodes.
relation to Gucci Mane?
Gucci Mane. I don't know.
Is Gucci Mane
Maybe
that
they're
like
related.
Digital Rabbit?
Yeah.
Is that no? Okay.
I'm
No,
sorry.
Let's
Gucci
go with
Mane.
that.
Gucci.
Oh, that's
Gucci
Gucci
Mane.
Mane.
I like that.
Gucci Mane.
Put that in the show notes. Just an animated Gucci Mane bunny rabbit.
Gucci Mane is Jared Leto's character in
House of Gucci.
House of Gucci, but like a rapper version of him.
This Jared Leto performance comes up way too often on this show.
'Cause it's so good.
Okay.
I haven't seen the movie, but I can assume it's not.
Oh, you're gonna love it. But yeah,
he's
so-
never gonna watch it.
My favorite,
Yeah.
my first introduction to anime was Pokemon. Everything at that time was Pokemon cards. It's also my introduction to video games because it was the first video game I ever owned, Pokemon Yellow. And I remember when I was young, everything was Pokemon. Like I would get Lunchable for breakfast for lunch, Lunchables and
For breakfast.
for breakfast.
Nah. Sometimes when you're hungry and like you have to like sneak into your lunch. You have to sneak because your backpacks would be
What
on
are
a
you
hook.
hiding from?
Nah,
You
our
crawl
back.
into your lunchbox.
No, it's true because our backpacks would be on a hook. Our backpacks wouldn't be next to us. It'd be in the back of the classroom,
to
and we'd
go.
have to sneak into our lunchbox because our teacher would be like, "Why are you doing this?"
Yeah, but sneaking into your lunchbox sounds like your
You're
entire
getting
body
inside-
is going inside the lunchbox.
that happened one day because it was ginormous.
Okay. Wait, really
Was
quick.
the Lunchable also ginormous?
No, so the lunch. What happens was that in the back they had like little cards that you can cut off, and I remember in daycare.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I remember in
Yeah.
daycare.
They used to
We
do
would
cool
cut them
stuff.
off, right? And then we would trade them with each other, like me and the other kids, and that was my. So yeah, ever since then I love Pokemon. I talked about the Pokemon episode, how much I love it. I stopped watching Pokemon around. I'm gonna say, I don't know. I don't even know. I just stopped watching Pokemon like in the 4th season. But yeah, it's my introduction to anime.
So when
Also
they go
dubbed.
into, like,
It was all dubbed.
gold.
Yeah, I don't think they did subbed Pokemon
Yeah,
on
yeah.
TV.
Yeah, it was all part of G Kids. Is it G Kids or 4? Yeah, G Kids.
G4,
No,
4chan?
No.
G6.
No,
World
it's G
coming.
Kids. Right,
It's not a G8?
G-Kids.
We kicked Rush out?
But it was like I would come home from school and there'd be
Shock.
Pokemon, there'd be Yu-Gi-Oh, there'd be Sakura Card
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Captor.
I remember. I saw you
Yeah.
watch Yu-Gi-Oh!
I would love
I just
Yu-Gi-Oh.
remembered that, like, because the Pokemon cards, I wasn't trading Pokemon cards, but I was trading Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I was battling people, and
Yeah.
I was, man,
Whenever
what a time.
whenever I play a card game, I always tell myself, believe in the heart of the cards. Doesn't work. But yeah, I always say
Man,
that.
I just remember going to Kmart and buying those like packs of cards,
Yeah.
and then being that obnoxious kid that had that giant like dual slider, like that you.
Oh man.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
yeah.
It was really cool as a
That
kid.
was cool. I don't care. I wasn't even a kid. It was cool.
Cool.
Link literally does do this because we've been in like game nights with like 12, 15 people, and he'll just say this. Believe in the heart of the cards, and I'm like the only one in the room that understands.
No, my
what
brother
he's saying.
understands.
Oh, okay.
I do it for my
Oh,
brother.
that's right. Oh,
And,
okay. Maybe this is a conversation for another episode, but I really like hung on to something that you said, Link, about Lunchables. Was it just me or were those pizza Lunchables?
The best things ever.
No, the worst things ever.
Oh man.
conflict, fight.
Yeah, it was just
I
like
think they got improved since I was.
Nah, man, turkey and cheese, turkey and cheese was the
cheese
one.
was like
cheese
the
was
most
the best
great.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
the cheapest
turkey
one
and cheese
too.
was the
So
best.
that's the ones I would always get.
yeah, and that's like how you like teach kids to like eat cheese plates and like appetizer boards.
Yeah,
like
it's a charcuterie.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
now it's
exactly.
like now as an adult, it's like I'm eating charcuterie. I'm like, man, good
It's
times
like,
back
yeah,
in the day.
yeah, classic. Gourmet Lunchables.
Because
right?
I was refined with the Lunchables,
Yeah.
and then I went into Hot Pockets, which I absolutely love, but I don't know if they were as sophisticated.
Hot Pockets are for animals.
No, Hot Pockets are amazing.
Whoa! What?
I know they're great.
They're
but
great.
they're not as sophisticated.
Okay.
Okay, they were a staple in my home, so I
Yeah.
burnt out on Hot Pockets.
Oh,
No, I never.
Lunchables are from a
They
more
were-
civilized era.
They were rare in my house, so whenever I got one, I'm like, oh, this is great.
I remember-
Oh,
I remember
Lunchables
they-
were rare in my house. We never got.
Oh
those.
no, I
That's
only
why
got
loved them.
Lunchables, and now I'm like, okay.
Nah,
I'm
I
tired
remember
of this.
sometimes like I would heat it in a way where like the inside was super hot, but like part of the crust was like still frozen,
Yeah.
and biting
Ah,
into
I
it was
hate-
just
you would have to
a
toast it,
bittersweet
yeah.
experience.
Well, you know what else was super hot at the time when I watched my first anime? It was,
Lean
was-
Pockets.
No,
Oh.
the movie that I watched, because I think I've talked about it in the past, especially in the episode that Link mentioned, Anime 101.
Sorry.
I'm more of a film anime,
Yeah.
and one of the earliest ones that I can remember, I talked about the Cartoon Network, Saturday Nights, Robot Carnival, Vampire Hunter D. You know, it's hard when you're this old to remember which one was exactly the first one, but the one that I remember earliest is getting a VHS copy of Akira, which was the first anime film that I ever remember watching.
A classic.
Hot take. I didn't enjoy Akira.
Yeah, me neither.
When did you watch it?
Pandemic.
Really? That was the first time you guys watched it?
Yeah.
How long have you guys been watching anime?
Since I was 4.
Pandemic. No, I'm kidding.
Since I was 4.
Pandemic.
No, I've
Since
been
we-
watching since like what,
Man, that's-
2015, 2014.
And I think I shared this with you too. Like
Yeah.
when I watched them, like, why is this good? Like, why is this so popular?
Yeah, so that's kind of like
Oh, that's what he meant.
yeah.
I was like, he's questioning himself. Why
Why-
am I
why
enjoying
is
this?
this
This is so.
good?
Why is this so?
Why is
good?
this the best movie
mean,
I've
I-
ever seen?
I do like. I know it's iconic. It's like iconic because everyone always imitates that motorcycle.
motorcycle scene, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I've seen it in the Batman.
motorcycle.
I've seen it in Simpsons. I've seen it in the Batman. I've seen that everywhere,
Mhm.
which is like
Also
my
that
favorite
jacket.
part.
Yeah, the cover. That's the cover
yeah,
of the
that's
VHS.
like the best part. And after
the
that, I'm
jacket
like-
with the pill is
I'm like, okay,
iconic.
It's still to this day. I think that's the cover on like Hulu. They have it on Hulu, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to.
yeah. This is what I think makes the film so iconic. Number one, it's one of the first films that came over to the US and then got a professional dub.
From Japan?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
ever?
No, anime. No, yeah, the first international film
This is
ever.
the first- yeah,
It was
ever.
it was one of the earliest anime films, which is funny because actually, if you go back, like there was a bunch of shows that you watch in the '80s that you didn't even know were anime because they used to import random shows. But for the most part, this was a breakout title, and it was unlike, especially at a young age, it was unlike anything you had ever seen before. I didn't understand what was going on, and I think when you're young, that's so cool. Now, as a grown person who look back on the film, I'm like, oh, I think maybe this doesn't make sense. I think maybe I don't know.
Did you watch it dubbed or subbed?
There was no such thing as subs when I was growing up, which is, I think, a big sticking point. Like, remember, I'm watching anime in the early 1990s, and our access to it is so limited that all we have is a couple of VHS tapes, and they're all dubbed. There was no market for subbed until I was around, college age. And then you're buying import tapes, which are technically illegal, from a local comic book shop, and you're paying for 3 episodes at
Shout
a time.
out to Anime Hurricane.
Yeah. I think I had mentioned it before, but like I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z on the international channel, and they didn't even have subtitles. So I had to guess what was going on because it was just
That's really
straight
funny.
raw Japanese. So that's kind of how I grew up with it. And that's why I kind of still watch things in dub, because I always defaulted that. Like, I understand. I watch foreign films. I watch subtitled films and lots of other genres. But for me, like, these voices, this I expect this level of production when you bring a product, because these early movies like Akira, which is a classic film, and is a really, I think, genre establishing film, and I think a lot of movies are gonna take from that. But it's really the first impression. It's like your first love, right? The the first time you have those moments, you'll always remember them, even if you're gonna have like way better moments, and your relationships are probably gonna make a lot more sense when you're an adult. But you'll always remember, that first thing.
I think that's, from its point in time, it is a staple, and I think a lot of people, like, there's so many different mediums that have taken inspiration from it and has used it even to this day. And I think obviously when you look like back in retrospect, people are gonna take from that, and then you can make things like can be better.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much like good quality stuff that it's like you go back then, and you, like, if you watch it today, it's like, this doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah.
Maybe this wasn't as good. But I mean, as a kid, I don't remember what that movie was about when I
Yeah.
watched it. So, but it was like, to me, that was cool.
I
Like,
didn't even remember what Akira was. Like, why is the movie called Akira?
That's the name of the motorcycle.
That's not.
That's not right.
that's the thing.
I thought Kaneda's name growing up. I thought Kaneda's name
was
was
Akira,
Akira.
yeah. And I don't know. There's just certain like aspects about it, like like the red outfit, the jacket, the motorcycle that stick with you. So when I saw it again when I was an adult, I'm like,
And the city too, Neo Tokyo.
yeah, it's like anime Blade Runner.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Dan, what was your first anime?
Well, I mean, actually, real quick about Akira, I think I went wrong watching it sub. I think I'm gonna go back and watch it dub. I think that was a big mistake.
I watched it dubbed.
You
Oh,
watched it what? Dan?
Sub
I
subtitle.
watched it sub.
I like the dub.
I did it
Yeah,
both.
but you tried this though, right, Gabe?
Yeah, I went both. I think I ended up with the dub in this instance, which is weird because I usually watch just everything sub. I grew up watching dub as well, but I think once I started watching again, I transitioned to sub.
Yeah, this sub versus dub conflict, I think, is going to continue on our show
Right?
for a while.
Yeah. Are you guys? Let's talk about that really quick. Sub versus dubbed.
And we've mentioned it before, but for me, I think I'm the outlier here. I understand that subtitled is the right answer, but everything I watch is, in my opinion, better dubbed. Like I just said, Akira, Cowboy Bebop,
Yeah.
Dragon Ball,
Pokemon.
the Studio Ghibli movies that have amazing, American and European casts.
Is there a right answer though? Like,
Yeah,
I think
there
that's,
isn't.
I think that's preference,
Mhm.
and I think that's like I can't really be like, what's wrong with you? Like,
But
I,
there
like,
are
ask that
people that are
question.
like that. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Dubbed. I remember.
I mean, listen, I do that as a joke, I don't actually mean what's wrong.
Oh, you've been joking this whole time?
Yeah.
I
No.
felt really bad about it.
You got a really serious face on there.
I
Dan.
remember-
No, you know what? What's wrong with you?
I remember when I was in college, I was
What, do you
talking.
eat Hot
I was
Pockets or
talking about how
something?
I loved Studio Ghibli to some friends, and I tell them I've been watching Studio Ghibli movies since high school because you introduced it to me.
Mhm.
Actually, no, you introduced me. George introduced me to
Hot
Lupin the
Pockets.
Third.
Yeah,
the
Lupin the
Castle
Third.
of Monte.
Castle of
The Netflix show?
Castiglione.
Oh, Cesaro.
Castiglione?
Yeah.
Claudio Castiglione.
So that was my first introduction to Miyazaki, and then from there we went on the Spirited Away,
Yeah.
and then from there, bro,
The rest is
snowball
history.
effect. Yeah. So I've
the snowball effect.
yeah.
This is
He's
a
got
family
bigger-
show.
Okay. Now I don't know if I use the term
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Okay,
You
go ahead.
did,
No,
you did.
You did. Good to you.
Idioms are not my thing. So I remember I was telling my friends like, oh yeah, all these movies are great, and they're like, when I told them that I watch them dubbed, they were like, ew, dubbed, and I had to explain to them like, no, like Studio Ghibli does a great job getting
Right, yeah, but
professional actors.
Mhm.
that you
Studio
yeah.
Ghibli, you have to watch.
you have
dub
to watch
because
dubbed.
they
And
put in the work,
they put in the work. Like you got Christian Bale as Hal,
which
have
was amazing.
right.
Yeah, his
Billy Crystal as Calcifer. You have all these great actors. Even the minor characters are great actors as well.
Mhm.
You have Tina Fey in Ponyo as the mom.
Billy Bob
Ponyo.
Thornton is in Princess Mononoke.
Right?
Yeah, and he's a supporting character.
Isn't
That's
Claire
wild.
Danes? Isn't Claire Danes?
She's amazing.
Right. So it's like you have all these great. Oh, Porco Rosso is Batman. Michael
Yeah,
Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Like
Oh, Ben Affleck.
And he's
No,
so
don't say that.
cool. Yeah.
say
Porco
it.
Rosso is Ben Affleck.
don't say that.
So
Don't.
cool.
That's my favorite Ghibli movie. Don't say that.
That's my favorite Ghibli movie.
Actually, it's
It's
I-
Ben Affleck's favorite Ghibli
It's
movie.
my favorite, but then I recently rewatched Nausicaa of the Wind Valley, and I'm like, and that has Patrick Stewart too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, this is good.
You have Mark Hamill, like in
Mark
three
Hamill,
of them.
exactly. And it's like
That's crazy.
Ghibli knows how to do dub,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's
Well,
why
it's because they get help from Disney,
they
yeah,
get
which
oh,
is
you-
a
no.
big-
At first they would. No,
Yeah.
not at first
Well,
because it was by G Kids and Miramax.
I mean, no, Miramax is Disney. Disney's done
No,
most.
before though.
No.
Oh,
that's-
yeah?
Yeah. They're all those dubs are
Ooh,
Disney
so
until
Harvey Weinstein was working for Disney.
yeah,
Ooh.
until the last couple of films. G
Yeah.
Kids started with, I want to say was it Wind Rises still Disney?
The Wind Rises was until Disney.
And then the
No,
one-
no, because Princess Kukuya was also
No,
G Kids.
that's G Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's first.
So just the last couple of ones have been G
G
Kids.
Kids.
The past couple of years, but a big like almost 20 of them are all Disney.
I mean, the best ones are.
And
Disney,
I mean,
right?
you're talking about Harvey Weinstein, but also the other guy that was heading that was John Lasseter. And
No, but we
personal decisions aside, he did a great
yeah,
job.
he did a great job. And even then, Pete Docter directed the American version. I mean, the American translation of Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah.
And I think it's
So it was Pixar,
it was
basically.
Pixar. Yeah,
Pixar
for a
was
while.
doing this.
Yeah, when and they are. I don't know if you guys ever seen that that Pixar. It's a documentary, right, where Miyazaki comes. Actually, no, it's like extras features
Mhm.
in Princess. I'm sorry, Howl's Moving Castle, right, where they show Miyazaki coming to Pixar, and you see John Lasseter hugging him,
And kissing
kissing him, and the poor guy's like very
and
uncomfortable.
touching and groping.
And it was just so cool, like how everyone there, who, in my opinion, like John Lasseter, Pete Docter, these are like, obviously without,
Yeah.
but these are like great animators, right?
Right.
Worshipping this guy.
Yeah. Well, and it's so apropos because for me, Ghibli is the
Yeah.
Japanese Pixar. You know, Pixar kind of models themselves after them.
Yeah.
So for them to take that work, you know, that venerated work, and just really
Really,
treat
yeah.
it with respect and the same like love and care that they put into their own products here in the States. I mean, I think it was a great marriage. G Kids has done great with the last couple of titles.
Yeah.
But I did really like, especially because I collected most of those Disney.
They were beautiful with Disney. Yeah.
Most of those Ghibli films, you know, through the Disney Movie Club, and I was just signing up and getting like 5 for $1. So it was a nice marriage.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you see Earwig and the Worm?
I did.
I didn't because I
Yeah, I
heard
wanna-
bad things, and then I
I
started
did,
it,
man.
I
And
was
let me
like,
tell you, plot. I think it ends abruptly, and the animation does not look good.
It-
And
the
it sucks because
CGI doesn't work,
CGI does
right?
not look good. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it sucks because I want poor Goro Miyazaki gets a lot of hate, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like
Is
you
that
can
the
tell,
son?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Miyazaki's son.
he has 4 arms.
a lot of pressure.
There's a
on
lot of
Goro.
pressure
I
on poor
picture-
Goro, and Miyazaki himself has said that Goro should not be in animation, which is like
A
harsh.
great thing to say about your
Yeah,
son.
Wait, his dad said that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight up.
What did his dad say he
His
should
dad-
do?
No, Miyazaki's like kind of mean to his son.
Yeah, his dad retired, and then Goro made a movie, and then his dad unretired to come back and show him how to make movies.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, so I feel
Forgot
bad for
about
Goro.
that.
But yeah, Earwig was ooh.
I just didn't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I didn't watch it because I just immediately was thrown off
But
by
yeah,
how it looked.
What is it
visually.
like?
I
He's
was
like
this is
he's not
Ghibli.
good at animation. Like the animation isn't good. The story isn't good.
I
No,
don't think-
he's just not his dad. You get me? There's a high expectations. At least Miyazaki himself has high expectations.
It's kind of like Steven Spielberg's son. Be a movie
Yeah.
director, and then like straight out of film school, he's like, "Hey, you're not as good as your dad."
yeah.
but like the movie is just not good at all.
This movie is not good
Yeah,
at all.
I personally don't think that
Tales of the Earth
Tales
Sea
of Earthsea
is that bad.
Is that bad?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Did
I
he
love
do
up-
Tales
I
of
love-
Earthsea?
Yeah, he
ma-
did
that was
Tales
his-
of-
that-
that was
that
his-
I actually
directorial
like
debut.
Tales
Yeah,
of Earth.
I like Tales of Earthsea.
Yeah.
Now, is it as good as
As-
his father's movies? No.
Nope.
Does his father have decades of experience?
Yeah.
You know? But I like Tales of Earthsea. That's Willem Dafoe's the bad guy in that one, right?
I don't remember. I've only seen it
yeah,
once.
but
and
I kind of feel bad. It's like trying to live up to that. I mean, like, you
Absolutely.
try to like that's what I was trying to ask. Like, is it just not good in general, or like by itself on its own?
So Tales of Earthsea, I think, is good. But this
think it's
Earwig,
good, too.
they went CG.
yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's weird. It looks almost like claymation type style. I don't know.
Is it
Yeah,
the
I
frame
don't-
rate?
No, it's just animation.
No, it's more
It's-
like the models they use. They're trying to still replicate
The Ghibli look
Ghibli.
Yeah.
with 3D.
like look, but with
But just
CG,
trying to be
and to
different.
me it doesn't work.
Which they kind of tried to do that with like Ranja.
And that looked
on
good.
Amazon Prime.
That looked good.
Yeah, it was like kind of like it was like
It was a little bit of both.
it wasn't hand drawn, but it was still 2D.
Yeah, I thought they did that well.
Yeah, and the animation looked really good. I saw the first episode, I think.
I saw like the first 3 and I
Yeah.
stopped. I don't know why.
Yeah, something like that. I watched like the first couple of ones, and because I think it's really for a younger audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like my anime club kids were checking out, and they're like, "Oh, it's kind of like it's okay. We can watch something else." So like they checked it out. So we just like hopped off of it, but it was really good. The quality like was very good.
What's it called?
Ranja, the Robber's Daughter on Amazon Prime.
What's that about?
It's based on like an old like folktale story. And it's basically like a Studio Ghibli animated series, but it's like it's really for a younger audience. She's like a really young protagonist, and the stories are like really simple. So
You know what's interesting? Nino Kuni does a great job doing CG and
yeah,
hand drawn. Why didn't they get those people to do Earwig?
I think they wanted a new style, or at least Goro wanted to try a new style. I don't think it landed. I also, again, I haven't seen.
I applaud him for trying. You get me?
Yeah, and I haven't seen the
Yeah,
film,
same.
but it looked.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, but it looked. I'd started it, and I was just like, I don't know, I'm not into it, and I just heard a lot of bad stuff, and I probably will watch it in its entirety at some point. But I heard it sets up for a sequel,
It ends like it sets up for a sequel. It doesn't really end,
which
like,
is
okay.
feels really dirty for a Studio Ghibli,
Ghibli
movie.
movie, yeah.
yeah. It just
And
basically,
bold.
yeah, it just basically wasn't a Ghibli movie
It didn't.
for all
It
intents
looked
and
like one.
purposes.
It did not feel like one.
Well, it didn't look like one either.
No, it
though.
didn't
No,
look like
in the
one
sense
either.
that like
It tried.
It
to
tried to
look
look
like
like
I can tell. Like okay, this was inspired by Ghibli, but it didn't. Yeah.
And it's interesting what you guys just said, that you like applaud him for trying. I agree. I think we should be experimental and we should be willing to fail. So I'm not writing Goro off just because, this movie wasn't good. With that being said, though, a part of me is a traditionalist and is like, one thing I love about Ghibli is that they're holding up the battle flag for 2D animation.
Oh, absolutely.
know?
I agree. That I totally agree with.
So it's like everything is CG nowadays, and I'm like, this studio, what I expect is beautiful hand-drawn animation.
Detail.
Yeah.
Just absolute detail.
Do you think this
in the 2D
studio
animation.
dies as soon as Miyazaki dies? Because once he retired,
Oof.
remember they closed it down because they don't have that other director, Isao Takahata.
I don't think they'll let it die, but I don't think it'll ever be the
No,
same.
because he retired.
When he
remember?
retired, they basically said,
They-
we're not making any more movies,
they-
and it's just
they-
merchandise and
cre-
licensing.
Yeah, and they
What has he
created
made since he's sorry?
they created a new like the people that worked at Studio Ghibli left. They created Studio Panak.
Uh-huh.
And they did that witch movie, Which
Mary
look-
and the Witch's Flower,
which was okay.
which was okay. I
Yeah,
thought
but
it was,
it kind of looked like a Ghibli.
the
movie.
the art was
Yeah.
great, but the story wasn't as strong as
Yeah.
a Ghibli movie. I thought.
What was you said Ghibli came like Miyazaki came back out of retirement, right?
Yeah, like for the 5th time.
Mhm.
What was the last thing he made?
He did The Wind Rises.
And
That was after his retirement?
No, like he retired,
Okay.
did The Wind Rises, retired, and then now he's back doing another movie.
So you said he retired, did The Wind Rises, and then retired?
Yeah.
Well, The Wind Rises is one of my favorite
No,
ones.
Wind
That
Rises
The
movie-
Wind
is-
Rises
yeah.
might be my favorite if I sit
movie-
down. and
It,
think
it
about
might be one of my favorite movies. Here's the thing about
I agree.
Miyazaki's movies.
And you got you,
that I don't compare them to other anime. I just compare them to film.
yeah.
You
No,
know?
they
It's not
because they
it's
are
not
films.
anime for me.
Yeah.
It is film.
Especially when he does those like real people in
Right?
time.
It's a shame that none of his some of his movies have been nominated for best animated feature.
hmm
But those movies can be nominated for best feature.
Yeah.
There's that
I
good.
agree.
And I think we're getting there. I think we've talked about like
No, yeah.
genre and how it breaks through categories and how we have more best picture nominations. And I think we will get there at some point with an anime film. But it took a long time for Pixar to get a best picture nom.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I always feel whenever Pixar and Ghibli are both nominated for best picture animated feature, I'm like, oh, torn. I don't know what to choose.
yeah, I have to really think instead of just going with my gut.
Yeah,
Really think
right?
about which one was the best film.
So all
So,
that to
Gabe,
say,
what-
dubs are good.
Oh wow, that's what we. Okay,
That's what it was.
I don't remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, if you want to watch dub, but just know it doesn't have the same support it used.
And you're not civilized, and you eat hot pockets.
Hey man,
Oh.
sometimes it's hard to eat and watch anime at the same time, so you have to do dub.
Yeah, I've kind of hinted at this too. I expect that if you're bringing a product over, that if you're gonna do a dub, you don't have to, okay? Because the original language that it was made in, that's why I said I kind of default from an ethical standpoint. Always, if you can read if you can read Cervantes in Spanish, read it in Spanish. If you don't know Spanish, then by all means pick up and read it in English. If you know English, read Shakespeare in English. So I understand that the original medium is always the preferred way. But if a studio is going to pay money to bring it to the States and dub it, then I expect you to do a good job.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the problem with that. There's too many
Yeah, that's
to do.
at least
And
anime.
every studio has
yeah.
too many.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They have like 6 to 7 anime, and there's only like a handful of English voices.
Yeah, you're right, because there's
Oh,
not
we should all get
not
into the
enough
game.
money in anime.
There's not-
Like,
there's- exactly.
No, yes, there is. There's an enormous
no,
amount
no,
of money.
but yeah, all that money goes somewhere. They really like. There's not enough
Voice actors don't get
And
paid
they-
well either.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another
I
thing.
mean, that's a good point that Link brought up. Is like I say, like you have to like eat, but like you have to like pay attention to and read.
Right.
I realized like I've had like a work from home job recently, and like I'll put something on in the background, and it's like I can't really if the anime doesn't. I usually watch anime sub,
Mm-hmm.
but if the anime doesn't have a dub, I can't. I'll probably have to watch it
Yeah,
on its own
yeah.
time because I can't really like have to juggle between those two things. And I appreciate the dub, which is like what was it like Dragon Ball Super? I watched in like 3 days to
Yeah.
catch up to my friend before
Mhm.
he's super in love with
Wait, so
Dragon
you've
Ball.
watched all of Dragon Ball Super?
I watched it in 3 days,
I feel sad.
and then because I just wanted to surprise him and be like, "Ha, I beat you in like in a shorter amount of time." But it's like thankfully they had the dub. I think Hulu had just gotten it at the time, so I was just like, "Oh, perfect." So throughout the days at work, I was just watching it and I plowed through it. So I appreciate dub, even though I choose sub if I
mean,
can.
It's also weird to me how long it takes to dub.
Yeah.
Like Naruto was over, and the dub was still on like episode 200.
And that's what I don't understand when you have a show as big as Naruto or some of the new titles that are, famous so fast, and they know which ones are like breaking out in Japan already. So there's no reason why these aren't a priority. Like when you put a haphazard dub, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, people don't care about dubs, so we're not going to try with the dub, and people will continue to not care about dubs.
And it's actually kind of funny. I was going back to first anime. One of the first animes that I had watched, which I guess is where I peaked, was Cowboy Bebop,
Yeah.
and that's my favorite anime.
We-
That's my
peaked at
number
a young
one.
age, yeah.
That's my number one, and it just so happens to be that one. I prefer to watch that dub. The dub
Yeah.
is the
I've never
version.
seen the sub.
I
version
try
of
to go
it.
back and watch in Japanese. It is not the same at all. Like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Have you read the sub version of the Netflix show? I don't even know that's
You
a
put
thing.
it in Japanese.
Like, I was
That's
like,
a
what was
thing.
happening?
No, actually, I think it wasn't available at first because I thought I looked into it because of the joke, and they're like, "Oh, we're doing Japanese later."
really quick, let us know. We'll put a poll on question on Instagram. Let us know what is your favorite Ghibli movie. Because we said some of ours here. Let us know online.
You mentioned like the Cowboy Bebop dub ruining the sub for you. Dragon Ball was like my first show. Akira may have been my first movie, but Dragon Ball was the first show I would wake up and watch weekly, right? And I grew up with it dubbed. When Super came out, like you mentioned, it took forever to get that dubbed here. So I'm like, I'm just gonna watch it because I went to the theater to go watch. First was Battle of the Gods, then was Resurrection F, and then was Brawly. I saw all 3 of the Dragon Ball Z movies, and they're awesome. I love them,
man.
You know. So when Super came out, I was like, I'm down. I'm excited, and I waited weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and I was like, nah, I guess I can't wait because it's gonna take months for them to dub it. And I just tried to watch it subbed, and Goku's voice is like,
nah, man. the dub is just so. It's so iconic.
It's
me.
iconic, yeah. That's
like,
what
I just can't picture Goku sounding like anything else.
Yeah.
And Vegeta, I don't know.
There's just not that attention anymore.
Also, is Dragon Ball
because I think it's
underrated?
because
Dragon,
Is Dragon Ball
definitely not.
underrated?
Like the original
The original
series.
Dragon Ball.
yeah.
Oh,
Dragon,
yeah,
Dragon
yeah.
Ball.
Yeah,
is
the original,
underrated.
I
Dragon
love-
Ball is really good.
I love Dragon Ball more than Dragon Ball Z.
I think Dragon Ball Z is overrated in the sense that I think people misunderstand what makes Dragon Ball Z good. I think
It's not the muscles.
it's not the muscles. It's
And the
not
hair?
the Kamehamehas. It's not the fighting. To me, it's the family dynamic and it's the growth. It's characters growing year to year and evolving. And like Dragon Ball Z is not afraid to kill a character. Of course, they do bring them back though, anyways, and it becomes a trope. But it's also like Gohan is introduced as the small child, and he's an adult by the end of the show, like full on adult.
Yeah.
And like characters get married, and characters retire. They become domesticated. You know, their roles change. Like some of the strongest characters end up as some of the weakest characters by the end.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's just a natural progression. It's almost like observing these characters live like a real life in this like completely fictional world. And I think that stuff is what makes Dragon Ball Z, especially when you tie it into Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like such a great series, like with heart. You know, it has fists, but the heart.
You don't think it goes too far after Z into Super? Like you don't think?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. They lost me in Super. Like, I'm still gonna watch it because I love it, but I think movies was definitely the way to do it. To just like drop in for a chapter. I think to try to replicate like more levels, more family, more time. I think Z had such a beautiful ending. And the thing about Super is that it's not its own series. It's a continuation of Z, which I know they tried with GT to do their own series, and that didn't work out either.
Oh, GT.
But again, I can respect being experimental and trying something different, even if it doesn't work out. This just kind of seems like they wanted to keep Z going. And I think that Z has just a beautiful ending, and it was a finite thing, and I still respect Super. It's fine, but I haven't been able to get through it because it was just like,
I don't know how you feel about Super.
yeah,
It's just that's the like watching so much in so little time. I was just like, this really is the same thing over and over again.
yeah, it is the same thing over and over. Yeah, and I feel like it was that. It was like whoever made Super. It's the same. It's not the same people, right?
I'm
Is
not
it?
sure.
I don't think it's Toriyama. Is that his name?
No,
Kirito? Right. I mean, this guy's like almost be
I
100 by now.
believe it's. I'm pretty sure it's not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not. I can tell that when I watched Super, it was what people think Dragon Ball Z was and not what it actually was, which is fine, I guess, for people, but it was missing that heart of what drew me to
Yeah,
it.
it's just, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like it's just like, just trying to reach new heights with the power levels.
Yeah.
Power levels just rising and rising and rising.
Wait, does
Dragon Ball Z was already pushing.
Does it ever go over the 9,000?
That's like the first
like-
season.
I know, but does it ever
Baby
go?
Goku probably
No,
does.
because I believe it goes legendary Super Saiyan level 4 God Blue like they lost
Ultra
me, bro.
Instinct.
Yeah, Ultra Instinct. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I just feel like how the Fast and Furious movies try to top everything.
Yeah.
Like every movie.
That's a funny comparison.
You convinced me. It's
I-
great.
it's
Like
Fast
the-
and Furious, man.
It's
Yeah.
just It's not as bad. I enjoyed Super for what it was.
No, but I used to enjoy Fast and the Furious for what it was too, because I used to say the same thing about Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Where I was like, it's
all right,
doing
that's
this
it. Family,
thing. Like,
family aspect, bro. That's it.
no, because that's not even a
Amelia.
joke.
Goku's just family. Actually, no.
No, but
Nah,
you're
that's
right.
not.
That's a great
not true, bro.
comparison.
Yeah.
Super Goku is, in my opinion, he is not a good dad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's a. I had takes about that.
Yeah,
one.
I actually have takes about Goku's parenting. Period. Like, but that's a whole
Goku
other
is-
conversation.
Seriously.
Talk about
irresponsible.
Goku's
Next episode of Anime Dads.
Oh,
Quick. Talk about Goku's parents. Is Piccolo black?
He's
yeah. For
Yes.
me,
Yeah?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Yes,
I was
he is.
Just
I
like Master Chief.
just like Jet.
I was
Just
looking,
like Shadow. That
I was reading an article
Like Jet
online that said
Black
like
is
the
black.
best black anime characters,
Yeah.
and number 1 was Piccolo.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not a ton of representation in Dragon Ball Z, especially for the time that it was, formed in. But Piccolo is that like
Yeah.
surrogate character,
Yeah.
Mhm.
where like there's like cultural, like just features, and also when you're looking for that representation, you put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
For example, like I saw Gohan, and I had that haircut. And like I'm clearly not a Japanese boy, but I was like, this kid looks like me. I'm him. I'm Gohan. I don't care that he's not the star of the show. Like whatever. That left me behind. And like I'm rooting for this little kid. And then he grew with me, which was amazing because I watched it as it happened in my time.
That is one of the things. Just Gohan was such, especially like when you get to Super. Gohan is such like he's probably one of my favorite. There's another character that's one of my favorites, but Gohan is what I thought Goku should be
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
a parent, as
Yeah.
a father,
Yes.
as a
Yep.
family member, and it's just the way like the relationship that they have. They expound upon that relation Gohan has with Piccolo.
Mhm.
As like Piccolo is basically a real daddy, though.
Right.
Like,
Exactly. Piccolo basically raised him, right?
Yeah.
Because Goku was too busy off fighting in tournaments
Dying.
or getting killed. Right, exactly. and that's interesting because also, Goku comes from a good place. He has a good heart, but he's a simple mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also half the time it's because he sacrificed himself to save everyone.
yeah.
But with that being said, Gohan's the kind of guy like my dad is the greatest fighter in the world. I'm going to read books and I'm
Yeah.
going to be a superhero and I'm going to be there for my kids. And that's not the kind of decisions that these characters usually make. And I think that's great, and that's why I love Gohan.
All that to say, Dan, what's your first anime?
Gabe, what was your first anime?
Bro, I don't
Your
even
first
know,
what?
dude. Like Cowboy Bebop is the one I remember. It's either Cowboy Bebop Gundam or Pokemon.
He mans.
Gundam Wing, sorry.
I mean, for me, it was like I had an experience with Pokemon. Like I had watched a little bit, but my parents were always very anti-anime for reasons I will never understand.
They were anti-anime?
Yeah,
My,
Like
I think they still
like,
are.
like
my,
cartoons as well?
my mom was
Some
like-
cartoons, yeah.
My mom bought me my first Pokemon video game. She bought me my first Pokemon cards. And 2 years into me liking Pokemon, she decides that it's the devil. So I was like,
Yeah.
wait, you can't do this to
Hey.
me.
My
Yeah.
mom,
You
my mom,
you
my
got
mom,
me into
my
this.
mom fueled my Yu-Gi-Oh addiction.
Yeah,
man.
and then I moved on to Yu-Gi-Oh,
She
and
enabled
that
me.
was,
And that's actually the devil.
Yeah.
But
I can
She enabled me.
But yeah, it's just like okay,
It's
Yeah,
just
there
so
was like
confusing
what,
to
like
me.
Exodia. There was like 5 part or like 9 parts to like 9
It's
cards
5.
to make a god. It's
No,
5,
it's
right?
5, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 5 cards to make like this like demon god.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
And then I like that. I used man. Now that I think about it, that was
But-
really bad.
Hey, did you ever have a Blue Eyes White Dragon?
Yeah,
Those cards were
yeah.
beautiful.
Those are my
bro.
rare
You
ones.
still have
I
it?
Blue Eyes
disliked-
White Dragon and the Dark Magician.
Dark Magician.
Wait,
bro.
but-
I love the Celtic Warrior.
But I dislike that Blue Eyes White Dragon wasn't as rare as it was on the show.
Right?
I felt
Everyone had a Blue
like,
Eyes
I
White
felt like
Dragon.
they should have just made like 5 of them in the whole world.
Would have been cool.
Would that have been?
But then I would have never gotten one.
No, I remember, man. I remember going to
You
Kmart
could have
and getting
stolen
the,
one from your friend in kindergarten.
No, I actually, you know what's funny? I actually got my Blue Eyes stolen from a friend,
Ooh.
Karma.
Zaire.
Shout out to
Zaire.
Shout out Zaire.
But then-
That was
But then I
That was the guy who used to do
confront-
this all the time, right?
Yeah, I confronted him the next day. I'm like, hey, where's
Oh,
my...
I thought like recently. You
no, I
confronted-
confronted him the next like, hey, where's my Pokemon? Where's
He
my?
just-
I'm sorry, where's my Blue Eyes White Dragon? And he like, and then he started laughing and he gave it to me.
Oh, he gave it back.
He gave it back.
Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. Karma, take it back.
I mean, because I
Wait, when
confronted
did
him
that
with my.
happen?
I was in
Apparently the
middle
next
school.
day.
I confronted him with Paul,
Oh,
with my
okay.
brother, who was like 10 years
Oh.
older. So,
No,
like, okay.
reparations were
Oh.
made 20 years later.
I thought like last
But
week
it was-
you were like, "Yo, where's my
Yo,
card?"
you.
He gave it back creased in the middle. I was so mad because it looked like he put it in his pocket.
So you should have beat him
So
up.
I'm like,
anyway.
oh, we should have beat him up.
Bro, it's like creasing your Jordans.
Zaire, if I ever see you again,
That's why you got to
searching
walk.
for MacGuffin is gonna beat you up
Oh no,
That's worse than
the
creasing your
views
Jordans. Whoa,
and
no, I don't-
accusations
yeah.
and threats
with love.
presented
But
by
if you
Link.
but if you become a
Link
but if you
currently-
donate
But if you become
and
a
if you become
donator,
subscriber,
yeah.
we'll kick Link.
reparations were made. Will be
We'll
made.
give you a hug. We won't beat you up. We'll hug
So Dan Willier,
you. As I was saying, it was always so weird to me because I couldn't watch anime, but I could watch like Alien and
But,
Alien.
like your
And
parents
Predator.
specifically knew it was anime.
my parents
or,
were-
like, was there a distinction between
Yeah.
anime and cartoons, or
There was a distinction.
they
There
knew?
was a they knew.
See, my parents were the other way around. Were like, I don't know. I was still watching adult movies. Again, movies for adults,
Yeah.
not adult films. I was still watching, rated R movies. But I wasn't supposed to be. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that didn't sound. anything.
I don't know how to say it. So, anyways, I was watching like Terminator and like Young Guns and things like that, whatever. But my parents were okay with me. They didn't want me to watch it. Well, my dad wanted me to watch those movies. My mom didn't want me to watch those movies. But they were both okay with me watching anything animated because it was still too early to know the difference.
Oh yeah, they thought it was cartoon.
Yeah, so they're like
Like
cartoon. I had
muñequitos.
Sakura. Yeah. So I used to like my bedtime was 8, but I was able to stay up late on Sundays to watch The Simpsons. And then that went on for years where I was just allowed to watch The
Yeah.
Simpsons. And then like one time my dad overheard me watching the episode where like Homer, is tempted to have an affair.
Oh, that's a good episode.
Yeah. And then he's like, "What are you watching? Like, what? This is The Simpsons?" Yeah. So that was the end of that.
That's when he realized.
Yep. And it was deep. It was
600
Wait, is it-
episodes
yeah.
in.
Is it the one where he has an affair with his? He's tempted to have an affair with his coworker,
Coworker,
or
yeah.
or the or the musician.
No, the coworker.
coworker.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Crazy how I remember that.
so yeah, for me, it was all just cartoons, and it was free for all. It doesn't matter how much inappropriate stuff was in it.
Yeah. So Dan's first anime was
40 minutes in.
Well, I have watched like Ponyo and stuff before, because I think they didn't.
Okay,
know
so
that.
Ponyo. Moving
was
on
anime?
to.
Ponyo, ponyo.
I
I
love
quit the
that
show.
Ponyo, ponyo.
You quit the show weekly.
Oh, that's true.
You're not
I
even a
quit
host
every
on
week.
this show.
One day.
What was your first?
After
anime?
I've done more outros than Link and Gabe combined.
is that like a
What's your
wait?
favorite
What?
an-
George has more outros than us?
What's your
No.
first anime?
Yeah, technically it's SAO, but that feels
Ooh.
anticlimactic
Oh.
after everything that.
What
Can
are
you
Which is
tell me what
controversial.
SAO
What is
stands
that?
for?
Yeah. What is that?
Sword Art Online.
Wait. Oh, I knew
That's
that.
not a video game.
Is it weird that
No.
when I think about Sword Art Online, I think the initials are SWO for no reason? Yeah, that is SAO. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What is SAO
I,
about?
I remember I think it was my freshman year of high school, and my brother was visiting from college,
Yeah.
and I remember
Papa
we were at
Julian.
Chick-fil-A, and he was like, "Man, I started watching anime," and to me, I was like, "What? I started watching anime?"
What a loser.
But our parents said no.
What
I was like,
rebel.
"What?" And he goes, "You gotta watch it. There's this one about this guy who gets stuck in a video game, and if he dies there, he dies in real life." I was like, "Man, that sounds kind of sick." So I watched it. I watched the dub because back
That sounds
then
kind of
couldn't
sick.
do-
Like that's a novel idea.
You talking about the Matrix? You talking about the Matrix?
Yeah, we're talking about the Matrix.
Yeah. Well, again, I was a freshman in high school. Yeah, everything was blowing my mind.
Had
So I
you
watched
seen-
it all and I loved it.
Did you-
And
you
then
loved
it just became a constant binge of anime.
Also, you liked
and
Sword
since-
Art Online.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Because I started.
I
watching...
understand
Go
I
ahead.
understand the gripes, but I mean, for me, it was my first.
We were watching it with my anime club at school when I taught in public school, and they were like, "Oh, the Sword Art Online. We just started watching. We were watching. Let's watch." And we were watching it, and then like at some point they were like, "Oh, we're not gonna keep watching it because he's in love with his sister."
the first.
Huh?
Isn't that Star
He's
Wars?
not.
He's not. Explain
He's
to me
not.
what that meant. Explain to me what that means.
Man, do I really have to explain?
Just
this?
really quick.
He was raised. It's like an adopted sister that he was raised.
Okay, so he is. Okay, got
So
it.
he's in love with his adopted
But
sister?
no, she's in love with him. He's not in love with. I don't want to explain.
Wait, isn't this also happen on another show?
I feel like this happens too often. In
Yeah,
anime.
I feel like anime is an attack on adopted siblings.
Oh, I thought you were
On
gonna
your
say incest.
sensibilities.
What?
I thought you were gonna say incest.
No, it's not an attack on incest.
Oh no,
'cause
it's yeah, it's for
It's-
incest.
It's abetting. It's aiding and abetting.
Yeah. Because let's recognize adopted siblings as actual siblings. Very, very rarely do they end up falling in love with each other. They should be raised as brothers and sisters.
I agree.
Yeah,
Hmm.
this whole like I had this gripe with the Flash, right?
The what?
Oh, because of Iris.
Like how him and Iris are raised as brother and
Get
sister.
That out of here. Get that out of
That's
here.
I was like, this was a choice.
Hmm.
So Sword Art Online, check it out. Really good. Where can we watch it? Hulu?
Well, I'll tell you this: the first half of season 1 is great. The second half of season 1 is bad. The first half of season 2 is great. The second half of season 2 is bad. But season 3 and 4 are incredible. I will say that.
Ooh.
Didn't make it that far.
So
A lot of people don't.
So that incredibly brief introduction into our experiences with anime. What has been your experience
45 minutes.
kind of throughout that time? I think that obviously there's been a recent emergence of anime, but in between that time, what has been your experience with anime, George?
Well, I think we talked about it, so which is kind of why it elongated that conversation. I always kept up with anime, but in a very particular way.
Yeah.
So I like if there was a Dragon Ball thing, I was watching it.
Mhm.
You know, so I was constantly watching, Dragon Ball, even to the point I would go back and rewatch. Like I had Funimation for a while, then I was rewatching Dragon Ball with my wife because she had never seen it. So like I was always into Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and periodically, like from year to year, I'll be watching it again. Like that's how much I liked that series. So and when the movies came out and everything, so the games and all that. And then the Studio Ghibli movies, they're basically the core of what for me anime has been. And then whenever there was like a hot title, like, oh, this movie's really good, and this movie, so it was always in my cultural lexicon, right? It was
Mhm.
always in the zeitgeist of what I was doing. But I juggle a lot of things like we do on this show, right?
Yeah.
There's ages where I'm just reading a bunch of comics and like not really doing much of anything else.
Seasons.
Yeah, there's seasons where like I'm really into wrestling and I'm not really reading comics that much. There's seasons where like I'm playing video games mostly and like not really doing other stuff. So it was definitely just like on this show, one of the topics that would fall into the rotation depending on what was out there. But I was never a TV guy, so I was never constantly watching a series, so a lot of the popular series that lasted for hundreds of episodes, I haven't seen them. I haven't gotten into them just because I balance so much. So it's always been on the periphery of my culture and what I do, but it's just a part of like a bigger whole. So I've always been in tune with the stories that they tell, but I've never done like a deep dive since I was way younger when I was watching tons of it, whatever I could get.
Yeah, and I can kind of see how that how I can relate to that is like when I was a kid, it was literally just whatever was on Toonami,
Mm-hmm.
and then at some point, like
you had cable.
if I stayed up late enough, it would change. Sometimes some months I wouldn't have cable, some months I would, so it would be different. But some like I'd be watching Toonami, sometimes Adult Swim if I like stayed up late enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the big ones I wasn't like I need to watch. The only one like I would watch repeatedly was Cowboy Bebop.
Right.
We had the volume disc set, and I would just watch that and the movie, and then probably some Gundam Wing. But it, like I said, it's just reruns. The only anime I think that I had seen like that was a show on TV was like when Naruto was first coming out, like the dub version.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Hey.
and I mean I enjoyed it, but like I said, like there was a point where I didn't have cable for that
Right.
month,
Right.
so I stopped watching it.
Where did they give it?
That was on Toonami,
Oh,
on Cartoon
okay.
Network.
Cool. Oh, that was already past my my prime time. It's like what you mentioned is like whatever's on TV. Yeah, whatever's on TV. And when I was growing up, there wasn't a ton on TV either.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever you could get your hands on. And I remember tape trading was like a big part of my lifestyle because you would go to like the local comic book shop and like they would have these bootleg copies
Mhm.
where like it was like fan subs and like someone just typing out what they think they're saying. you know, and
Yeah.
putting it on the screen. And then you would like someone else had this tape, and I would just be constantly handed tapes with like a label on it and handwritten the title, Record of the Lotus War, you know, Guyver.
MacGyver.
No, not MacGyver. That would be a sick anime though.
That would be cool.
Yeah. No,
Isn't it just Lupin?
the Guyver. What?
Wouldn't MacGyver be
The
Lupin?
Netflix
Oh,
show?
that's a good point. That's I've never seen the series. I've only seen the movies.
That's the
weird?
second time
Uh,
they haven't acknowledged you.
I
Gabe.
know. No,
Yo, that-
Link had a facial. He had a
Bro,
reaction.
That Netflix Lupin show, you guys should watch
Yeah,
it.
Thank
It's
you,
great.
thank you, Danny. Thank you for hearing.
Is
Have
me.
you seen it?
No,
I
I've
got
heard
you.
great
It's
things.
great. It's like anti Sherlock
Yeah. Is it weird that I
because
like
he's a thief.
the thing that's getting in the way of me watching Lupin?
Is the anime?
It's a
Yeah,
French.
it's because like it's not gonna be Lupin the Third. Like it's,
well because like
Not yet. It's a prequel.
it's about Lupin, but Lupin the Third is
This is
about
Lupin the
his great
First.
like
Yeah.
his
This is
grandson.
the first.
yeah,
So it has nothing to yeah.
yeah. But I'm gonna be comparing it to the Miyazaki film.
I think the only
This is
other,
nothing.
the only other like one of the most popular animes I watched as a kid was on Nickelodeon.
Macross.
It's called Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ooh, hot
Oh,
take.
that's yeah. I don't know if that counts, man. Oh.
Hey, if it's good enough for Moon Knight, it's good enough for me.
Yo, that show was great, man. I honestly think that show.
Which
Moon
way-
Knight
which one,
or-
which one,
which
which
one?
one?
Avatar.
I agree.
Avatar
We should talk about it when it's over.
I think Avatar: The Last Airbender is up there, like top 2 greatest animated shows of all time. American animation.
Would you call it an anime?
Would I call it an anime? No, because it's made by Americans. It's not made in Japan.
I think this is a weird
Yeah.
conversation to have. I never understood this conflict. Anime, by definition, is Japanese.
Yeah.
No, like
Yeah, it's literally just the Japanese translation to cartoon.
yeah.
So is it anime?
So I
No,
don't. No, it's
But
not.
man, it was
It's always a weird argument. I never understood.
I don't understand how it is.
Shouldn't be an argument.
Right? Words have meanings, and Avatar doesn't fit.
Nah, well nowadays people just don't care about
You
meanings.
can tell that it's inspired.
You can
by
say whatever
anime.
you want.
I'm glad that we have a podcast.
You
It's
can
an-
say whatever you want.
It's inspired by anime,
Yeah, it's definitely.
so you see that
Would there be another American series that you think is inspired by
anime.
anime? Yeah. Can any of us
Samurai
think?
Jack.
Samurai Jack.
There you
yeah.
go. See, Samurai Jack's
even
not.
then,
Is
yeah.
anyone arguing Samurai Jack is an anime?
Probably
No.
someone on Reddit probably
Actually,
is.
probably
Yeah,
out
I
there.
mean,
Someone
okay.
on Reddit's probably arguing about everything, man.
Um,
Samurai Jack is so good too, man.
what about Afro Samurai?
That's anime. Oh,
Was that
Link
me?
shut
Oh,
down.
did Link just say it was anime?
Nah, Link shut down.
I don't know who made it. I don't
He's
know.
offline.
it's.
Oh, he's back. He's back up.
Ew.
I can't tell. I don't know if that's anime.
Weird,
It
but-
seems like it's anime because it's literally. It looks like it's an anime.
Yeah, but
But
Ah,
I'm not
but you
sure.
can't
I'm
go
not
by
sure.
what
that's
it
not a
looks like.
Japanese-
I'm
yeah.
not sure who made it. I don't know.
It depends on the studio.
Yeah, I don't know
If
what
the
studio
studio's
made
in
it.
Japan.
Is Batman the
it's
animated
anime.
series anime? Or... I'm just kidding.
Yes, yes, it is.
It's as good as any.
Is
anime.
Bruce Tim Japanese?
His anime YA.
Anime is way.
Oh.
Anime
Yeah,
is YA. Your
we'll
boy
talk
brought
about
it
that.
up.
Well,
Check out our YA episode.
Anyone who's
Dystopia. Oh,
who
what is
hasn't
it called?
seen
YA
listen.
dystopia.
why dystopia,
Check it out.
oxyopia?
Oxyopia.
Ooh,
Thank
don't
you.
even know what oxyopia means.
And you're on the episode.
But so Link, what is your relationship with anime in between this time?
In between this time, I think like George, it was just watching Studio Ghibli movies. By that time, Netflix was George was either buying the movies or like you can still like rent. Netflix would send you DVDs.
Yeah.
So that was my, like in between because after Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't really watch anime, because there isn't much. I don't have cable, so my anime includes like Clifford and Arthur.
Oh, is Arthur anime?
It's Arthur.
Is Ar- yeah,
It's
Arthur
YA.
It's YA. It's not YA because they're not young adults.
Oh, they're not.
They're like high school. They're elementary students
They don't grow by the end of the show.
at the end of the show. Yeah,
Okay.
They just ended.
So it is
Like
why
a couple weeks ago, it just
No,
ended.
Yeah. Weeks or months?
months, like 2 months ago.
years.
Well, it's still weeks.
So
Years.
I was my relationship with anime during this period is like I said, movies pretty much.
Mhm.
Studio Ghibli movies. What's the name of that guy that does like Summer Wars and Children of the Wolf? His anime movies. Because Studio Ghibli opened up.
I honestly don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, this
What
is
is
other
that?
like there's this other guy that people would say he's as good as Miyazaki.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not the guy from Weathering with You and Your
That
Name.
guy, I
'Cause
think,
that guy I
is
can see him
close
being
second.
Yeah,
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 he's
for
close
sure.
second.
But there's this other guy that did The Girl Who Left Through Time, Mirai, Summer Wars.
Mirai was nominated for best animated feature.
But even then, I'm like, okay,
Ye-
I
thought
I
it
didn't
just-
think it was that
I
good.
thought it was just me and the girl who left through time too. I thought
Yeah,
it
no,
was
this is
like,
by the same guy, and
yeah, but they're
not.
they're
That,
like so critically loud.
no, I don't understand why. I don't understand why. It's by the same guy.
Yeah,
I don't know
okay.
why it's that.
I'm glad
good.
I'm not living in a.
No, yeah. I watched them all. I'm like, what is this?
Man, I gotta watch those.
They're
Or
good,
apparently, I don't.
but
No, they're good. They're good.
They're good, but
everyone's telling me they're like the best
Best
movie of the
movie.
year. And
I'm like, no. Did you not see whatever Ghibli produced that
okay.
year?
It's not Akira, okay, Dan. So when you watch them, just go in knowing it's
Okay,
not as
I-
great as Akira.
Thank you.
I
for
think
telling
Ghibli
me
movies
that.
are better than Akira.
Oh, what? Of course. Yeah.
I agree.
I don't even think anyone's gonna.
I don't even think that's a
Except for
conversation.
that one.
I mean,
guy on
someone
Reddit.
will argue.
Yeah, that
it,
one guy
but
on Reddit who's like,
I don't even think that.
who's like Arthur is anime.
You know what? Akira
Arthur
is
is
better.
anime.
Akira is better than Earwitch.
That I don't think anyone's.
I
Gonna
agree
fight
with
you on
that, too.
either. I don't even
Hot
have to
take,
watch
Akira
Akira.
is
These
better
are
than
not
I don't
hot
think
Cold
that's
takes,
a hot
cold
take.
takes.
Yeah, cold takes.
Cold takes.
But yeah, so it was just movies for me until I get to college.
Did
What
Dan
about you,
even
Gabe?
have an experience in this period? He still wasn't watching.
No,
anime,
he was
right?
already in there.
Oh, really?
He's currently-
Well, I mean, when I started, after I started, it was just consume,
Oh, okay.
consume. And I had so much time in high school.
And you got into series, right? So like,
Yeah,
that's
I got
a lot
into
of
series.
consumption. What was that experience?
I
like?
got into movies. I got into everything. I was just consuming every series that came to me. Someone would recommend it, I'd watch it.
Oh, so you've seen.
24 episodes, I'd watch it in like 2 days.
So you've seen a lot of movies too.
Yeah.
What kind of movies?
A handful.
Okay.
Um,
Jinro, The Wolf Brigade.
no, there was this one. I
I'm
think
just
The
gonna
Boy
name
and the
movies
Beast.
I know you haven't seen.
Yeah, you go. The Boy and the
What's-
Beast. That by the same guy.
Boy and the
Tokyo
Beast.
Godfathers.
Is that the same guy?
Yeah. Oh no. Is it?
I thought it was a different guy.
No,
Tokyo
yeah, I'm
Godfathers. Have you seen
thinking-
Tokyo Godfathers?
I have just stopped.
Isn't that like a
listing
Christmas
movies.
movie?
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm thinking of the Wolf and the Child, or something like that.
No, I thought The Boy and the Beast.
No,
was
The Boy and
nice.
the
I didn't
Beast.
think it was.
It was nice.
Have you watched The Boy and the Beast?
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking
It
of
was
another
nice.
one.
Yeah, it wasn't like.
It was
I'll tell you
nice.
right now.
I also don't think it was the best movie that year.
No, it was okay.
Yeah.
Like,
they're good. Like I think this guy's good.
Wolf Children.
I didn't even know he was.
but is this the same guy who did Mirai?
The guy that did Mirai, his name, I wrote it down here. His name is Mamoru Hosoda.
But the question is, did he do The Boy and the Beast?
I got you right now.
What else have you seen, Dan?
I mean, at that time, I had watched Your Name, which is
So good.
probably my.
Oh yeah, he did the
Like,
boy. He did
right-
the Boy and the Beast. He did the Boy and the Beast.
I don't know what happened
Okay,
during that
so-
time period, but I bought Your Name and I still haven't seen it.
Movie is
Bro,
bro,
that
movie's
movie's
beautiful.
great.
That movie
That's
made
what-
me
It's
cry.
like there are 2 Studio Ghibli movies for me in first and second, and then it's Your Name.
Wow. I gotta watch.
I
this.
think Your Name is beautiful. Sadly, it's getting adapted.
Thank
and
you.
getting
It was my father's
Isn't-
name.
I think it's not Spielberg. It's JJ that's doing it, right? Adapting it, right?
Is it really?
I think it's JJ.
I don't know.
J.J.
how.
Abrams
Yeah,
Listen.
adapting
I
Your
don't-
Name
Yeah.
into live action.
live action.
Oh man,
I don't think it should get adapted.
I don't think I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think any anime should get adapted.
I don't think any.
Doesn't-
Oh, we'll talk about that
Yeah, Netflix.
next
Oh,
episode.
okay,
No
yeah.
anime should get adapted.
Okay.
They should think
Netflix.
about doing a One Piece adaptation.
No, I don't want that. I don't want Bleach. I don't want Naruto. I don't want Dragon Ball Z ever again. No, just don't do it. I don't want this. If anyone could be adapted, it might be this one, but I don't want it because I also don't think it can be adapted. Akira has been in development for like 20 years. Like,
You mean
don't-
Chronicle?
no, Akira. What? What's Chronicle? Oh, no motorcycle.
That's what it reminded me.
Isn't that
of.
joke-
No motorcycle.
Yeah, you're right. You're
No
right.
motorcycle, no jacket. So
You're right.
I don't even know what else is in Akira, so that doesn't count.
Is Kanye,
No motorcycle, no jacket.
Is Kanye Akira?
Sometimes he looks like
Right?
he
I'm gonna get a tattoo
belongs
that
in
says
Akira.
"No motorcycle, no jacket."
There's a guy.
no motorcycle, no jacket.
Kanye just dresses like Akira, like for the longest.
But yeah, I was just consuming anime. I've watched so many small, random Like I was watching every genre. It really didn't matter. I was just consuming.
Give
I
me some
actually
titles.
branched
Just
out.
throw me some titles so I have an awareness of,
Oh,
and so that everybody listening to this episode can know what not to check out.
Sword Art Online.
what not to check
Yeah,
out?
'cause you-
Ouch.
I'm just kidding. Go.
I don't know. Like,
You watched
So
you,
many.
you
I can't think of any.
You watched,
but that's the
you
thing. It's
watched
so many. It's hard to just start listing.
You saw
off.
Death Note.
Erased.
I did see Death Note. I did see Erased. I watched Toradora. I watched Your Lie in April. I watched Charlotte. I watched.
Black Butler.
I didn't watch Back Butler.
Okay.
I
If-
watched
if-
Hunter x Hunter. I watched
Hunter
Naruto. I watched.
If you had to
uh,
like recommend
Full
some
Metal
real
Alchemist.
quick, what would you? Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist.
I just
Short
started that again.
ones.
Should I
Erased.
recommend
Erased.
short
Erased.
ones?
Erased.
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 Erased. Yeah.
If you need a one season
Delete,
Anime?
delete.
Erased is the best one.
Okay.
Erased is incredible.
So there's probably a lot of people listening to this episode that, aren't really into anime. They probably listen for other topics. So like if they had a place to start, something short, something for sure good. Okay, Erased. What
Erased
else?
is a good one, yeah. During
Erased is a good place to
during that
start.
John during that
One
period that
Piece.
he's talking about.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, Erased, Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist
Yeah.
for sure.
That's one of the few.
Even
I've
though
seen.
that's a little
That's,
long.
no,
Did
it's
you watch
like
the-
60
You watched Brotherhood or the
episodes.
new one?
Brotherhood.
Yeah,
Brotherhood.
Brother.
The
No, no,
original
you
is not Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brotherhood
I've
is
seen
the
both. I think
canon
I've seen
one.
both.
What else?
I saw the first
You
one.
can
I
also
just started Brotherhood again.
Death Note.
Not do the same.
I don't know. Death
They're
Note is
kinda
like.
the-
I think that's like once you're into anime.
No, once you're into anime, yeah. Like
Yeah.
you start off small, you watch with the race. You don't want to get because there's some animes that you shouldn't just watch. For example, if your first anime is Attack on Titan,
I don't think
you shouldn't do that. Yeah, because you're setting yourself high. Your expectations too high.
Really? Okay. I think we'll get to that.
I think
we
we're
are
here.
there. Okay.
'Cause I think Attack on Titan is probably one of the animes that got a lot of us back into
Yeah, I
watching.
agree. It got me back into anime along with One Piece. I mean,
It
One
got-
Punch Man.
It got me into giving a serialized.
Like a series
Show,
not
yeah,
like
a
film.
series,
'Cause
right.
I think the theme for all of us is, well, I guess mostly for you guys. I think I'm kind of playing catch up with the films, but I think the films have kind of been prevalent in your lives throughout.
Yeah.
I can say, right?
Yeah,
Because they're more
easy,
easily consumed.
Yeah.
Like you just,
easier to
especially when they're in movie theaters, it's nice to just sit down.
Yeah.
And watch
Especially
one
like
of
the Ghibli
movies.
stuff. I mean, it seems like they're always quality.
Yeah.
So
And also I hate to harp on the same topic, but me as the older one and Link as the second oldest one on the show, access. We didn't have
Have access.
Crunchyroll.
me as the
That's
third
true.
oldest.
Yeah.
You-
We didn't
you
have
yeah,
Crunchyroll.
it's-
We didn't have even Funimation. Like we just had tapes or DVDs eventually. And if it was a show, it was only 3 episodes.
Yeah.
It didn't make financial sense to
And that's-
follow a series.
and that's why I drop off of anime
yeah.
shows because of that.
Yeah. So and also film is just film, and no matter what kind of film, it's a film. So like when I got married, I could still watch animated films, with my wife, but it's hard to like
My wife.
to commit
It's
week to week.
A show is more of a
Actually,
commitment.
I think you're right. I think my recommendation to someone wanting to get into anime would be watch a film because
good.
that way there's no commitment.
Mhm.
I think the Ghibli films are a nice
Here are the
little
Fireflies.
step in.
Well,
Well, it depends on what's in your face.
Yeah, some of them are really Japanese in your mind. No, but I think if you watch a movie like Spirited Away or Princess Mononoke,
Exactly.
you have that Akira effect where you're like, I don't think I understand everything that's going on here,
yeah,
but
it
it
took,
is beautiful.
it took me a while
know?
to understand Ghibli movies.
Yeah. The other thing about it is I think that people watch animated films way deeper into their life. Like you still watch Disney movies and Pixar movies, but I think that people don't really follow animated shows after childhood for the most part. Here from a Western perspective.
I mean, that's how I was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an
Yeah,
example
yeah.
of that.
I mean, that's how it was before.
I wasn't keeping
you
up
know,
with that. I feel like I had like transitioned to
modern day.
like live action film and TV shows like that. And it's like now that I'm like I said, playing catch up and going back to a lot of these things, it's crazy how much how much content there is that's like actually quality, and how much it's still relatable, and I still can understand it, and even more to this day.
Right.
Like the themes that are implemented in like Pixar films and anime and Ghibli films, like there's so much like on a deeper level that I don't think you grasp when you're as young.
See, I think I'm against watching Ghibli movies as anime because they're so different to anime.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah.
Ghibli movie is not it's not what anime is going to be for you.
Right.
Miyazaki's mind is a lot different to what anime is now.
It's almost like, hey, you've never seen movies
Mhm.
before? Here are this year's Oscar-nominated films for Best Picture.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is what movies are?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you go to the movies, and that's not what movies are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching Grave of the Fireflies as a kid, and
Uh-huh.
dude, I was bored. I was like,
Okay,
what?
then watching it.
I was like, what's happening? And then I watched it like as I'm older, and I was like crying.
Mm-hmm.
I was bawling my eyes out.
I guess watch an anime that isn't Ghibli, or watch an animated film that isn't
Isn't
Ghibli.
Watch Earwitch. And
No,
then
don't watch.
They'll
Don't
never
watch.
And
watch
then
a
your
second.
expectations are going to
No,
be
they'll
blown.
never watch a second animated
Is
film.
it a witch in your ear?
That's your name, Earwitch.
Her name is Earwitch.
Have you
Yeah.
guys watched A Silent Voice?
Oh, that movie is. Oh, you know what? That's actually. That's movie's
that
great.
How about that?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a better
That
transition.
movie. Yeah, that's true.
If you want, like, I think that's a
Good.
beautiful.
Good. Yeah.
So you
It's
said
a little bit more. It's more modern too. So I think it's perfect. Or yeah.
If you, yeah,
so. Link, you said not to start with Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I say not this. Although it's an anime.
I
that
agree
got,
with that.
I mean, it was one of the animes because One Punch Man is what got me back. But it's an anime that got most people into anime. I still think it's not.
Why do you think it's not a good primer?
Because
It's too dark.
I agree.
Not that it's too dark for me. I think it's because it's good. It's really good, right?
Okay.
I don't know,
Yeah,
but
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
about
if I
that.
agree with that.
No, because
It's too good.
no,
to
because
start
no,
with.
when a lot of people got into Attack on Titan in 2016, it was really good. Like that first season
Yeah.
of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I agree with you
I
100%.
agree.
But
Right.
also, it is 2022.
It's
No,
too good.
yeah. But
You
oh,
could have been alive at any time.
But so I think it's like it's great, right? But it does. There's if you want to get into the genre of anime, I think you try something a little bit simpler.
I wanna recommend. I mean, I wanted to recommend My Hero, but after the last season, I'd
But
rather
even then,
not.
starting off of My Hero,
But
isn't
I thought
bad.
that was, yeah, I think that is a good
yeah, I
starting
think it's
point.
a good starting point.
It's so difficult.
Because
when-
that brought a lot
Now,
of
if
people
you're
in, too.
if you're like almost 40, it's hard.
Yeah.
it might be hard.
Hey, listen, it's so difficult to know what a starting point for something like this is on. Like, I know we've gone through it like recently when we're introducing some of our friends to like pro wrestling as a genre. It's like, where do you start? What do you show them? And what do you not
it's hard.
show
It's
them?
Show
hard
me
to-
AEW.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you? Yeah, but even then, it's like, how do you have to explain this? There needs to be a context for
What
it.
is good?
Yeah. So I think anime is like that the same way. I think when Attack on Titan, which should be titled Attack of Titan, first started, I think I would have been like, yeah, for sure.
No,
like make this your first show, because my wife fell into it right away and she hadn't followed a series like that. Obviously she's placated me and like put up with stuff, throughout the years, but she was like, yeah, let's watch Attack on Titan. And she was in it like week to week. And I think it was one of those like Game of Thrones type
Yeah.
shows where it's like you might not be into fantasy or even like, HBO style shows, but like you're going to watch Game of Thrones just because.
Mhm.
And I think there was a big conversation around it. And I think it was really relevant. But I do think that like all the eating people and the limbs and the stuff like that and like the weird giant
Yeah,
stuff.
I feel like a lot of people aren't ready for that.
Yeah,
when they're going
it's a
into
lot.
an
That's why I said try
animated-
something simpler. I think
I like Erased as a starting
Erase.
point.
Erase is a great. Yeah, I think Erase is one season.
It's got a little bit of like fantasy to
Fantasy,
it, not
yeah.
like in the medieval fantasy.
You also said
Magic
that
to it.
Yeah.
Also, Attack on Titan does make sense. At the like, if you watch this current season, you'll see why Attack on Titan as a title makes sense
Oh.
because you're.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
That's true.
Oh man, I apologize.
Because I agree with
for-
you. Because it makes it like, why doesn't it Attack of the Titan? Until like I watched like 2 weeks ago when I watched it, I was like, oh, I get the title of the show now.
Nah, they did that after because they knew they messed up on the title. They're
No,
like,
no,
"Let's
because
do
even
this."
in the manga, it's like it's the same thing. With oh, I didn't get it in the manga.
Twist: the Titans are the good guys. Humans must die. So
Essentially,
I'm not there yet. I'm like halfway through season 3 because I got stuck somewhere in the pandemic.
that's my favorite season.
But you said this show is too good. My opinion is it trails off. Like
I
season
I
1,
agree.
No, season like
super fire.
no, because like I said, like when I got into anime, Attack on Titan was season 2 hadn't come out, right? So
Yeah.
everyone loved Attack on Titan.
Yep.
Season 2 comes out, season 3 comes out, season 4 are like, okay, this has gone down in quality a bit.
Which one's the season in the tower?
That's season 2.
Yeah,
that goes down immediately.
Wow.
You got my
no.
boy Levi Ackerman. Season-ending
For
injury.
real, but they took him out of the season.
You
I was
took
like,
him
why do I
out. It's
care
like
about
what?
this, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, how is my favorite show now like a drudge to
Yeah.
like get through,
No,
week
yeah.
to week.
But that's why I think season.
But I
3
think three comes
3
to
is
the
my
rescue, man.
favorite.
3 comes to the rescue hard because
Like that government
know,
coup. That's
man.
my favorite story arc in the
it's
manga.
good.
Also, we get
feel like
we
they-
get Levi
They
versus
lost me.
the. How do they lose? You get Levi versus the.
They
Beast
lost
Titan.
you at 3 with Irwin?
Oh my.
No, they had
What?
already lost me at the end of 2.
Oh yeah, they lose. They
Yeah,
lose. They
Like
that's
lose
by
the
at-
problem.
3, I was
By
I'm
three,
back-
I'm
really
like, oh, this is better, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna have the same.
Were you
love
watching?
that I
Were you
did.
watching weekly?
I
Yeah.
was watching weekly. Yeah.
I keep doing that.
I was
After
watching
season
weekly.
1, I was watching weekly.
Dan, were you watching weekly?
I had binged 1 and 2 because that's when I started watching.
And you had to
And
wait
then
for 3.
I had to wait for 3.
Yeah, I watched. I remember.
I believe
saw
I watched the. Sorry, I watched
Uh-huh.
the first episode of 3 in theaters.
Wow. I saw
Oh
season.
wait, no, I thought somebody else wanted to do this.
Mm,
Was it me? It might have been me.
was it you?
I think I might have done the same thing, Dan, because I do that a lot. I go watch I did that for unfortunately Inhumans
Yeah.
on IMAX.
I remember I saw season 1
sorry for
because
your loss.
Yeah,
My friend-
I'll
my-
accept it.
my friend had shown me season 1, and the first 5 episodes, I'm like, I think the first 4 episodes, I was like, I'm not that. I don't see what the hype is. And then
Right.
episode 5 comes out.
Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly when he gets eaten, right?
And then I'm just like, spoiler. And then I'm just like,
no, it's no spoiler. I'm sorry.
I don't
Why
know.
is that not-
I agree with.
It's not a
No,
spoiler. No.
Why? Because we're in season 4 and it was.
Yeah, we're in season 4. Yeah. This is
Yeah.
I'm talking
yeah,
about,
but
like,
if you're talking
so-
about recommendations to get someone in, if they start watching Attack on Titan,
Well,
that's still.
Okay.
I'm not recommending
didn't-
Attack on Titan.
Okay, but just for the record,
But people
though,
are still
that
listening
means
to this.
that we're not allowed to talk about any of the final season, right? Until the show is over.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Okay.
So when that
So
So if
happens,
that
about
lasts
season
6
1.
years, if we're still in the final season 6 years
Yeah,
from now,
there's
you're
a-
not
there's a
allowed to
cutoff
talk.
well, it's gonna
period.
actually, it's gonna happen. They're just gonna keep extending this. But I think that like until that 5th episode where that happens, it's like, oh wow, and then they hooked me.
Yeah.
And then I just watched the season 1, and I hadn't like there's I think a couple months had passed by where I was like I just hadn't followed up with it until season 4, part 1 had started, and then I remember I think we all went to the house for like an event, like a birthday or something, and
yeah, it
then
was someone's birthday.
you guys were watching it.
Yeah. You watching the yeah.
Yeah, that part, and then I was like, you know what? Like what
Eren
I was,
Yeager.
it was super cool, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep it going, and in like a weekend I had caught up, which was like a lot. It was seasons 2, 3, and then the beginning of 4.
You know what? I just remembered. I did go watch the opener for season 3 in theaters because it was my first experience watching it subtitled
Mm.
because it was subbed, and I remember it was good. Like I liked it, and it was really good. But I went knowing because I was like, it's so stupid. It comes out in a couple. Like I think it was only like a week early or something like that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
a few days.
but I was like, it's like it's gonna be at home. But I was like, oh, I watch it dubbed, and this is subbed, and it's gonna like have extra stuff because I think they gave the first 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe so.
Yeah, so it was like a week and 2 weeks early. So I was like, oh, get a head start, and I can still watch them again anyways because I watch it dubbed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I saw season 3, and I was like, oh, it's good. This is off to a good start. But I had that experience. So,
I agree, man.
so Attack on Titans. This is the
It's a
start.
It's a start from that and One
I
Punch
think
Man.
I think this brought back.
Let's brought back.
I really
I
do
think-
believe
yeah,
Attack on Titan brought back.
I remember I was in college and we would have that season 2 started coming out, and we would have parties where we would watch each episode together.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it got so many people.
Is it me or is like did that kind? I don't know. I feel like there's like a certain culture, like especially in college, where you get into anime, because that's kind of like when I got back into anime when I was in college, and I don't know, like I feel like there's like a certain thing where like you're in your dorm room watching anime. Like for me, it was like me watching anime, eating ramen, and just like that's what I would do
I mean,
a lot
that's
of the times.
That's when my brother started watching it. That's when he told me that he started watching it.
I didn't
Yeah.
really have friends in college.
I mean, you eat ramen because it's cheap and there's nothing else. That's what I was doing. Just eating ramen.
Also, I went to college 20 years ago.
I would eat my ramen dry because I was lazy.
I'm
Did
sorry?
anyone ever do that?
Yes, this is the most despicable thing.
What?
Like,
I would eat my ramen
he's
dry.
too lazy to
like
warm.
chips.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like no, not like chips. Like
What, you would put water in it?
How
Just cold water in it, soften, moisten it
no,
up a bit.
I would. Yeah, it's just raw. I mean, dry.
No,
and
so
I-
how
you
is
have
it?
to
So it's
explain.
not a
Explain.
chip?
Like you would just eat a
Yeah.
brick of
So, like
ramen.
It's like
big
bread.
chip.
Yeah, like a bread. Yeah, I guess a big chip. Yeah, you're right.
It's not
kind
like
of a
bread
bread?
'cause it's
What?
Yeah, it's like because it's like as thick as a. Bread.
No.
How hard is the bread you're eating?
this is not okay.
That's-
I would do that, and I
Did you put the packet on?
No.
No, Link has this thing.
No. He'd
I
take a
just-
bite. He'd
I-
take a bite of the ramen and then put the seasoning
No,
just
no,
pour it in
yeah.
his mouth. Just
No, I would. Yeah, that in a soda. That's
Yo,
what
Link,
I would eat.
Link has this thing where
How are you alive?
not only
It literally tastes like crackers.
I don't know what
But
I
then
was
it-
gonna say.
But it
it's
all
Link.
depends. It also depends on the. It also depends on the ramen itself. Because if you try like the mama ramen by itself, that has
But-
flavor.
It's so fast. Like it's so fast
Yeah,
to actually just.
Link is so lazy that he won't even use a microwave. Like, what are some other things that you
I didn't
just
have a
don't-
microwave in the dorm.
Oh.
That's why.
So maybe it was
Oh.
necessity.
Because
Oh, we feel bad for you.
none of
man.
my family decided to help me out.
What'd
Did
you
you
have
ask?
in your dorm room?
Huh?
What'd you have? in
But
your
you
dorm
can
room?
retroactively
No, but-
make reparations by donating
Yeah,
to the show.
Donate.
Let's get Link a microwave so he can warm up his ramen for the first time.
So he doesn't
in
have to eat
2015.
ramen
No, but see, that's
crackers.
when I started experimenting with different types of ramen, and I'm telling you, that mama ramen, if you eat it dry, it's so good.
I don't think that's any ramen.
I'm not gonna do
No
that.
one's gonna try that.
No, it's actually a thing. I'm telling you. There's restaurants where you can eat ramen dry.
Good for them.
But I
I'll
feel
stick
like
to my hot
These
pockets.
guys, whoever started those restaurants, also could not afford a microwave for the restaurant.
No, because they also
I
have
feel like
different. They also have it, normal.
now if you told me you ate cold hot pockets, I wouldn't even doubt you. I
Man.
would believe you.
It's almost
it's-
like
I mean, if it's not frozen, yeah.
Every time Link comes over and I'm like, "Oh look, there's food there," and he's like, "All right," and he just starts eating it, and I'm like, "No, just put it in the microwave." For a bit." Nah, and then he's just, and it'll be like the weirdest thing. It'll be like cold pasta, or I don't know.
food is so
I
important.
don't want that radiation on my food.
Yeah, that must be it. Okay, yeah, sure.
Good, nice save.
Stands
Nice
in front
save.
of stands in front of an active microwave eating dry
Yeah.
ramen.
What about when it's already in like the frying pan or the pot, and you just need to like put warm on the stove?
I'm hungry now. I should eat it now. I'm a simple man. I'm content with everything. I have learned to eat cold, and I have learned to eat hot food.
So
Next time you stay here, I'm just gonna stock up on raw ramen.
And
Oh,
then-
give me that
and
mom.
every
Get
time
me
you
the. No, we'll do it
Nah,
together.
you start your own business. Ramen. RAWMEN.
No, we're
Oh.
You're a
doing.
genius.
No,
raw
we're-
man.
Just don't put a hyphen in between that.
No, dude, we're doing
Wait.
this. I'm gonna.
I don't think that's a restaurant, guys.
We're gonna do this. When I go over,
Yeah, we're gonna do this
We're
raw
gonna-
men.
when I stay over, I'm gonna get you
I
the
am
ramen.
not
that-
doing this, just for the record.
Dan is doing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you the.
All four of us together.
I'm showing you the
ramen.
ramen that
Dad
tastes good dry.
volunteered. He's doing our.
Mama's ramen.
What will you say, Link?
I'm gonna bring you the mama ramen that you can try it dry. It's good.
Mama ramen?
It's called mama. Yeah.
I'll try it, but I don't.
He's
think I'm
not gonna like
enjoy
it because he likes ramen.
Yeah, I like ramen.
Yeah, so Dan.
No,
starting,
Link likes ramen.
Dan's
I
starting the
prefer
restaurant, and
ramen.
he's creating our shared Google Calendar. I have a question for you before we go. Do you feel that there's like a culture of legacy in regards to anime? Because we're talking here, and you guys are throwing out like all these new series and all these new and like this, that from the past couple of years. Is it like film where there's a catalog or kind of like a, an idea of the films that have come in the past and like what you need to check out if you're, into this genre? How much have you guys dug into the history, or is anime kind of a medium that looks forward more than it looks back?
I think it looks back a lot, but I do think there's some anime that I think everyone has to watch at least one of the big three, whether it is Dragon
I
Ball.
disagree.
Why?
Okay, let him finish.
What
What
are
are
the
the
big
big three?
I think it's Naruto, Dragon Ball, Bleach. A lot of people would say, you know what, big four and One Piece. But if you watch 1,000 episodes, congrats.
wait, why? I thought the big three was Naruto, Dragon Ball, and I'm sorry, Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece.
I think so too, because I think Dragon Ball's even
Dragon Ball
before it
predates-
predates,
Oh,
predates
Dragon Ball
it.
predates that. Yeah,
I always just count all four.
I think you have Dragon Ball, and then you have these.
I think Dragon
That's
Ball
fair.
ran
That's
so
fair.
that all these other shows
Yeah.
could also run.
I agree.
I do think
Fly.
everyone should watch one of those big three, whether it's later or whenever.
That's so hard though, because like I grew up watching Dragon Ball, but I don't know where to tell someone to start watching Dragon Ball because it's so long.
It's so long, yeah.
And like that's why I'll never watch. Which one was it that you said? One Piece.
I'll never watch. Listen, I know
Tantan
there's gonna
watches
be
One Piece.
a One Piece fan out there who's gonna be hurt.
Yeah,
never watch.
George's brother.
I watched the live action version.
Also, he's not gonna hear it, so it's okay.
That's perfect, yeah.
Yeah, Gabe and I will watch the
live action
One
version.
Piece.
No, I mean I know you will, but
I will not.
oh, yeah, you might.
I will not.
Okay.
Gabe, how did you feel watching Naruto without filler? Did
Bro,
you
I
think
loved
it was
it.
too long? Did you think it was like
I mean, it was the summer of anime, so I had time.
Oh, they have Dragon Ball lists like that too.
Your boy
Filler.
coined that term.
I mean, I think
Summer
that's the
of
way to
anime.
go.
Did
I
they
think
ever
you have to
finish?
do it without filler.
Did they ever finish Kai? I don't think so.
I
Right?
believe they did.
They
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you can just watch Kai, or
Exactly,
or-
and it
or
becomes a
you
lot
could watch-
shorter. And
there's nowhere to stream Kai, by the way, which upsets me.
That is
like,
interesting.
like they have Funimation. Funimation doesn't have Kai.
Crunchyroll.
Yeah. Okay, Funimation in Crunchyroll. Like, there's just no Kai. The title exists there, but they don't stream Kai. I want to revisit the series, but I don't want to revisit the whole thing, you know? And I would love to see that with the new animation and all that. I just don't understand it. If you think I'm going to spend hundreds of dollars on, like, collecting Kai, I'm sorry, but I already spent thousands of dollars, you know, in my life. I'm not going to invest that much into it. If you're listening, just put Kai on Crunchyroll. Thank you.
Yeah, so I love Naruto. One of my favorite shows. It is long. Like with fillers, it is pretty long. Without fillers, like what, like 350 then?
I think so, and it's in the
three something.
It's manageable.
But that's like
20-minute
is that just
episodes,
Shippuden or is that with the OG?
I mean, OG's not long.
It isn't long, but still.
So I
still
think
adding
it's
to it.
I think added together it's about 400.
Yeah, but that I like the story, and I think, and I agree, like, because we've had this conversation, is like, does filler get in the way of the overall project?
Yes.
And I think it does.
It's
The answer is yes.
Yeah, it's literally just a product of syndication. That's what it is. Of just
It's
having
just-
to have X amount of
Yep.
episodes while keeping up with the manga.
Man,
While keeping
back
up a
then it
schedule.
was just create.
But to me,
I
man,
prefer the seasonal.
Back then,
still-
I
I
think
still
that's
love
still
that story.
I think that's still today is all about create. It's just
Yeah,
dependent.
but now they're seasonal, so they don't have to do filler. They can wait.
I think
That's
that,
why you don't really see filler anymore.
yeah, I think, especially now with like streaming services like that, I think the availability of these, it gives rise to so many different options for
yes,
anime.
Yes.
And I think that I think you can have, there's such a wide variety. You can have a lot of anime that goes back and pays homage, pays respect to the past and what's come before it. But you can also have something that's completely out of left field, completely different and completely new.
Yeah.
So
So
looks like he wants to say something.
Link, why did you feel like people should not have to watch one of the big three?
Why? Because you guys said they're so long, right? By the time Gabriel was done watching Naruto, I had watched like 6 animes.
yeah, but you don't think
I'll-
eventually you have to understand?
Yeah, but
Like for example, Naruto.
I think you're asking the wrong person on that one.
Okay. What do you mean asking the wrong person? No, but,
Because Link will just he would just say like to him that's not as important.
Yeah, those,
Right.
It's not as
No, but
important.
that's a
That's
different
the
perspective.
mainstream,
Yeah.
right? I'm not.
Yeah.
So yeah, like okay, I would rather branch out and watch other things than watch these big.
you're a
things.
checklist person.
But-
You're like I could accomplish X.
I
amount
can,
of stuff.
yeah, I could watch because there's so many things I'd want to catch up, and I feel like watching one of these big threes, like she's gonna bring me down. I'm like, no, I'm good.
I mean, I guess I agreed to that with that to some extent.
But are they not
That's
great?
why I
I
said
don't.
later.
they not
Exactly, they're
great?
amazing stories.
Like for example,
They're amazing.
Naruto.
Like you're not missing out.
Yeah.
Like
Okay. Now
you want to watch.
and like so many people understand Naruto and the characters and the stories. That do you think that it's enough that I just have Naruto in Fortnite, that I have a grasp of everything that went
No.
on in the show?
Please don't ever say that.
That was a joke. It was a
Yeah,
joke.
because Naruto uses guns in the show, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he totally clearly just shoots people. Can't wait till Goku comes out.
Nah, I think, then personally for me, if it's worth it to me at the end, like I will watch all those episodes, and and I value that experience. That's one of my favorite
Right.
animes now, and I love it. And to have missed out on that, that would have hurt more than if I
That's
watch it
what
years later. I'm just like, man, I really should have watched this back then. And that's just me. Like we're just two different people. Like the
Right,
way
yeah,
that,
for
the way
sure,
that we set
for
things
sure.
up are different.
Yeah.
You know what?
I mean, I can understand your point of view, Link, but I agree with Gabriel. Like the story is worth the 400 episodes.
and that's another thing too. Like you're talking about fillers, right? Another reason why I think Attack on Titan it shouldn't be a starter is because fillers are
What about season 2 as a
they're
filler?
unnecessary. Like they're necessary for anime, right? You kind of have to have them because it's education and whatnot. Attack on Titan does not have fillers,
What about all of season 2?
And that's great.
What about
and
all
that,
of
no,
season
exactly,
2?
and I think that's great.
All of season 2 was filler.
So that's why, like, I think like if you want an anime experience, you kind of sometimes you might need filler episodes, right? Attack on Titan is great. You don't need bam.
And you're really putting Attack
Are you
on
saying
Titan
that
on
there
a
is
pedestal.
some need for
If you
filler?
want, yeah. I mean, if you want to experience it,
I mean,
that's no, and
disagree.
then there's
I
like
don't think-
complaint. Like I've seen people talk about, like people argue that fillers are part of the experience.
I disagree.
I mean, I think it
and
depends
then-
on the show because I
but-
think the fillers are excellent in Dragon Ball. I think like
Yeah.
the driver's license episode is I don't care what anybody says. Sure, it's amazing.
You're also
Naruto
missing out on
has
some of
some
those
good fillers,
experiences.
though.
But then I've never seen Naruto, right? But that's why another. So it goes back to my argument, like why I don't think you should watch these shows is because like I feel like now modern animes they don't really have filler because they don't tend to be as long as these other three.
I hate to go back to Dragon Ball Z, but like that's why I think Kai was such a great idea because Dragon Ball Z's problem isn't like the fillers and the sub arcs, but the decompressed storylines. Comic books do this sometimes, where it's like, man, these 8-issue run, it could have been 4 or 6. You know what I mean? Netflix does this,
Yeah.
where like these 13 episodes could have been 9 or 10, and I think that like Dragon Ball Z, there were moments where like Goku was building up a spirit bomb for a month for me because it was like one episode a week.
for sure.
And like easily 4 episodes was like building up to something.
And I think therein lies the difference for me. I'm playing catch up. I'm binging all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I have
that is
all
the
of these
difference.
episodes readily available. If I'm watching Naruto week to week,
I would have stopped.
I'm suffering.
No, yeah,
bro. I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna lie.
Yeah.
I am suffering
Imagine if for One Piece
because
fans.
because I'm doing it now. I'm
Yeah.
I'm watching week to week anime now, and I'm just like, how do people do this for years?
Yeah.
Like
Bro, and that's why I started reading
it's
manga.
crazy, and that's the thing. Like I started reading Jujutsu Kaisen manga, and I was like, this is amazing, and I can't wait till it's animated. But being able to read it and to catch up to where Danny's at now, to where the story's at, it's incredible, especially that story specifically.
And it all goes back to access and accessibility, being
Yeah.
able to get a hold, being able to not only just consume all the legacy or at least have access. If a title's not on a service, then you can at least rent or purchase it very easily, right? Some of the services, even if you don't have Crunchyroll, if you're not ready to dive in to, the big, and we can talk about the future of anime next time, about how they've compressed kind of like all these catalogs together.
Mhm.
But even if you're not going to pay for an extra service, most of our listeners at home probably have HBO Max,
Hulu,
probably have Hulu,
Netflix for sure.
probably have Netflix, and Amazon Prime, who have all dived into the anime game.
And no one has Paramount Plus.
Yeah, nobody has Paramount. They don't have anime on Paramount
With
Plus.
Avatar,
Oh,
though.
okay. So
But
looking,
Netflix has Avatar
Blue's
now.
Clues.
yeah. So looking back at the past of anime brings us to where we are today and how we're looking forward to the future of anime. And I think it's a conversation that's worth dedicating some time to. So as we continue with the show, we're going to take a look at where we are now in anime. And we visited the past, and we're going to look onwards to the now and what's to come next week on Searching for MacGuffin.
Watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and then Naruto. All right, bye.